It's shoulders to the wheel for the potters of Varanasi. The Hindu festival of Diwali is approaching, and they're hoping to sell millions of these clay lamps to help people decorate their homes for the occasion. A ban on Chinese products has wiped out foreign competition for them, so they're hoping for a bonanza this year.
Every year, there used to be a lot of Chinese imports, like colorful electric lights, candles, and plastic lamps. We didn't sell that much ourselves. However, there's been a widespread boycott of Chinese products this year, so we are getting a lot of orders already. We're working hard.
But the festive spirit has not spread to other businesses. Automotive sales are down by more than 10% so far this year. Overall consumer spending has fallen by about 40%, and GDP shrank 24% between April and June compared to the same period last year.
There are no jobs in the cities or rural areas. You hear about people getting fired everywhere. Fresh graduates are not getting hired. The pandemic is affecting our economy badly.
While lockdowns have eased, the reopening of businesses has come at a high cost. More than 7 million Indians have contracted the virus so far, and more than 108,000 have died. While healthcare providers continue to battle the outbreak, economic managers are trying to revive the economy with a $10 billion stimulus package. All federal government employees are being paid salaries in advance so they can spend on Diwali. New Delhi will spend $3.4 billion on roads, ports, and other infrastructure projects, and offer $1.8 billion in cheap loans to state governments. Analysts say the measures aren't enough to turn India's ailing economy around, but officials are hoping to provide at least temporary relief and replace the gloom of the pandemic with some holiday cheer. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
For more on this, Sunil Poshakwale joins me from Birmingham. He's a professor of international finance at the Cranfield School of Management. Good to have you on the program with us today. India's economy contracted 24% year on year in the quarter, April to June. How much of a boost do you think this package, this $10 billion boost, will actually bring to the economy? Do you think it's enough?
Well, as we know, hit by this COVID-19, economies across the world are finding that the road to economic recovery is quite bumpy. And India is no exception. Pandemic-induced lockdowns, social distancing norms are keeping consumers, people away from shops and services that they normally access. And that is slowing down the economy. And it is a big challenge for all countries around the world, including India. This package that government has announced, which is over 300 billion US dollars, nearly 10% of the India's economy, is actually focused very much on the small businesses and people coming from socially deprived backgrounds. Also offers a number of tax breaks for small businesses, incentives for domestic manufacturing, as well as providing help in terms of providing free food grain to poor and cash to poor and elderly people in India. So the reform, the package aims at reforming on land, labor, liquidity, and laws. Government is trying, in a way, everything that they can to increase the supply side in the hope that it will boost the demand for the businesses and individuals and ultimately for the economy.
There has been criticism, though, from some economists who say that the stimulus package will actually have little effect on consumer demand, as the package gives more money to people who weren't most affected by coronavirus. So you mentioned that small businesses will get a boost from this. So who is most affected by this? And do you think that criticism is warranted?
Well, I mean, there is a big challenge. The big worry is about the pickup in the lack of pickup in the private demand, the consumer demand, and that remains a big challenge. The modest global growth that we are experiencing in India is part of that story, is also arising from lack of coordination amongst countries in terms of trying to curb this infection from spreading. And the fact that different countries are in different stages of pandemic is influencing trade and mobility of both goods and people, and therefore the overall global demand. So in that sense, the criticism is, it can be looked at it with a pinch of salt, because at the end of the day, all that government can do is try and provide as much liquidity and increase the supply side as much as they can.
Okay. This boost comes at a time when we're entering the crucial festival season in India. How critical is the festival season to get people out and spending? And is it even salvageable? Because we are still seeing increasing numbers of coronavirus cases in India.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the number of cases in India increasing is no surprise given the size of the country. Fortunately for India, the recovery rate remains quite good, and the mortality rate per million is still amongst the lowest. However, having said that, the supply constraints seem to be beginning to ease, and the path of recovery will depend on how long the pandemic really lasts. And the oncoming festival months, as you said, Diwali is around the corner, may generate enough demand to keep the wheels of the economy going, because at the end of the day, the consumer demand needs to pick up.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Sunil Poshakwale joining us from Birmingham. Thank you so much for your time.